Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Miller, and this week I am just sharing my heart with you a little bit. There's no guest this week, but stay tuned the next couple weeks. I have some amazing guests that are going to be sharing their hearts with you and their stories. And so be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're watching this on my blog, Spotify, Apple. So that way, or YouTube, so you'll be notified when those episodes goes live. But anyway, for this week, I just wanted to kind of offer some uh, encouragement to you because I know life is complicated, right? Life is complicated. And this past week was kind of a shock for me because well, let me back up a little bit. Um, I've always struggled with some skin issues with my hands being dry. Okay. And recently, in the last couple of years, it's gotten really bad, especially during the winter. Because where we live in the Pacific Northwest, it's very dry in Idaho and it gets very cold. And so my hands just do not well with that. I've tried lots of different lotions and I've seen my doctor about it. So finally, this past week, or this past month, my primary doctor said, you know what, we need to get you into a dermatologist because I think there might be something else chronically going on that is something that is just out of my realm of expertise that we need to address. And I was like, okay, no big deal. But obviously, I was wanting answers, but at the same time, with me already caring for a chronically ill spouse, having two chronic illnesses of hypothyroidism and myself, and then being a busy mom and trying to run a business, it's like I don't want something else on top of everything else with what I'm dealing with, right? Let's just be honest. But and that's what happened. I ended up getting diagnosed with a skin disorder, divertitis, I think is how you pronounce it. Don't forgive me, guys. I know I was in healthcare for 15 years, but even so, medical terminology is crazy. So, anyway, but basically, it's interesting though. Uh, because of all the hand washing I did as a healthcare worker for 15 years, to keep myself and my patient safe, obviously, and then caring for my father, caring for my grandmother for 2 years, caring for my husband, and then 3 years ago getting diagnosed with IBS and needing to really hand wash because of that illness, just for sanitary reasons to be safe and make sure I'm keeping me and my family safe. The hand washing hasn't let up. So there's just a lot of, I guess, trauma that has been done to my skin. And obviously, again, with the environment, that doesn't help either. And also, too, with this condition, scented things can really aggravate the condition and make it worse as well. So scented soaps, scented dryer sheets, scented uh, laundry detergent, all those things. And so this past week, I have been doing a lot of cleaning house, as it were. I was getting rid of liquid soaps because it was tough for me to find a liquid soap that would work that was unscented. Everything has some sort of scent in it, and so that wouldn't work. And then I had to find unscented laundry soap, unscented dryer sheets, body washes, deodorant, even shaving cream, everything. I had to just throw everything out and start over. And that was hard because this week, it just felt really overwhelming with combining with the fact that my husband did have an episode this past week, a bad seizure this past week. And then on top of that, getting this diagnosis and having to make all these changes, that just didn't help. That just didn't help things at all. And then the weather's been changing too. We've gone from 10 to 15 degrees above normal for this time of year where we live to now actual more normal type weather where it's been really windy and so it's been dry and it's been cold. And so that hasn't helped either. But I will say that I'm thankful that I'm on a treatment plan now. I have medicated creams that I can now apply, and it's helping. It's a lot of extra work because every time I wash my hands, I have to put on a specific type of lotion to help keep my skin healthy, and then twice a day do a medicated ointment so that way it keeps it in check from really getting worse and just being careful, obviously, when I'm out and about too, about what I'm exposing my hands to. So it's been a big shift and it just feels like another thing, I won't lie, on top of everything else that I have going on in my life. But at the same time, it's just life. Life is complicated. And as a caregiver, as an entrepreneur, that is true, isn't it? Life is very unpredictable. It takes no two businesses that are the same. I've been working on my business for 4 years and I'm still scaling to where I want to be. I still have a lot of progress to be made, and that's okay. And then, same thing as a caregiver, my husband's health, praise the Lord, is so much better now than it was 4 years ago. But we're also still trying to figure out what works for him in the season that he's in, because as with any chronic illness, sometimes treatments do have a shelf life. They work for X amount of time, and then your body becomes drug resistant to it, I guess, for lack of a better expression. And then you have to try something else. And that happens with a lot of illnesses, not just epilepsy in particular. I remember with my mother, that was very much the case for her. I remember because of her having breathing problems and some respiratory problems, she struggled with her finding the right blend of antibiotics that would work for her. And when they didn't work anymore, when her body became drug resistant, then there goes another option. And so her list of what would work got smaller and smaller as she went on throughout her life. And so it can be really complicated dealing with um, chronic health, because whether it's your own or someone you're caring for, because there's no like black and white answer. Sometimes it's just taking it day by day, seeing what your loved one's body responds to in terms of treatment, seeing what your own body responds to in treatment. And that's very much where I'm at now. I'm just taking it one day at a time, doing my treatments, being careful, and just seeing what happens. And that's all I can do. And same thing with caring for my husband. It's been a 4 year journey. I do not regret becoming his primary caregiver. But it's definitely been another thing to our lives, right? With, in our marriage, and we're being parents and just trying to live life. But we don't want to let it stop us. And if you've had a hard week this past week too, where you're just feeling like, when is it going to let up, or I just can't take, or maybe you yourself just had another hit, maybe with your health or your loved one's health, something going on with your children, or maybe something with your business. Maybe you're in a place where you really decide, or you're having to decide how you're going to pivot and keep scaling. I just want to encourage you that it's okay. It's okay. You will figure it out, and it's okay to take it step by step and feel your way through. Nothing is going to be solved overnight. Most things aren't solved overnight. It's a process, it's a journey. Chronic health is very, very much, like I say, a marathon. And so is being an entrepreneur. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It doesn't happen overnight. And just like a professional athlete that has to train for months or years to become a pro athlete or an Olympian, even, they didn't get there overnight. They had to put a lot of hours in the gym and in their training regime to get where they're wanting to go, right? So the same thing is true with stabilizing our loved one's health or your own health. It takes some time. It might take multiple doctors. It might take multiple treatments. It might take just giving the treatment some time for it to build up in your system. I know for my husband with epilepsy, that's very much the case. Whenever we start a new treatment, a new medication with him, we don't see results right away. Sometimes we'll slip back a few steps because his body's having to get used to the medicine. And that's just the way it is. It's not, is it fun to see him have breakthrough seizures, or to just feel irritable or off, or maybe other symptoms, because the drugs all there's some things that are similar, there's some things that are new, and everyone's different. So you could have 50 people in the same room having taking the same medication, but it's going to hit for everyone differently. And you just have to figure out how, and you have to learn how to roll with how it hits with you. And same thing, like right now, what I'm going through with my skin disorder. I have two medicines. I have one I'm doing intensively for 2 weeks, and then in a week I'll take a break, and then after that I'll get a week break, and then I got to start another medicine to keep it in check and keep doing my precautions of making sure that I am staying away from things that could trigger it, and just being careful with what I touch. And if I do touch something that isn't a safe thing, to make sure I wash my hands with a safe soap and moisturize with my cream. So it's okay. And I'll be transparent. Here's my hands right now. I'm wearing my gloves right now because I did my morning treatment. I just put on my medicated cream, and obviously I don't want to touch my eyes, so I wear my gloves that I would wear overnight when I do it as well, just for precaution, so I don't touch my face, and it doesn't get on anything else. So you do what you have to do. You do what you have to do. Okay. So I hope you guys have a good week. I hope you guys have I hope you guys take a time or take time, excuse me, to just breathe and give yourself some grace and just know that you're doing the best you can. It's okay to take one thing at a time. You're not alone. And I hope you know that I am here for you. I am here for you. So definitely be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. Definitely reach out to me via email at melissamiller@tyrosupermom.com if you have questions or a need, because I am here for you. I want to support you. And as always, definitely realize that you are doing an amazing job of balancing being a parent, balancing being an entrepreneur, and balancing being a caregiver. And I will see you on the next episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. Take care, guys.